And welcome back to the Call of Duty North American Championships of 2015, presented by Xbox. I'm Gizmo, joined by Mr. X. We have Faze Red against Optic Nation, and right now it's 2-0 in the favor of Faze.
Faze just looking dominant. This is the team that we thought we would see when they were originally formed, right? Now this team was formed, could have went either way. I mean, looked like it was going south real fast at Season 1 champs. After that, did not look good. Nobody kind of expected them to come out this week and really put on the show that they're putting on, but they're really laying it to Optic Nation this one.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of their matches so far. Aches going absolutely off so far, but our key player matchup of this map, Miracles against Enable.
Yeah, and you see Enable on your screen right there, 1.20 KD. The caps per game at 0.67. You know, the defense caps per game, you know, to able to get those defense, 2.33. And then Miracles on the flip side, 1.22 CTF KD, 0.67 caps per game, and then about 1 defend. I think you kind of look at these two players as Enable is that rising star in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I mean, especially this year. I mean, he was around the trade deadline for Season 1. He was the player everybody was trying to get. No, outside of Optic Gaming and TK, really have made changes. And then on the flip side, you have Miracles. I think one of the more underrated players in Call of Duty. I think a lot of people forgot about him and Killa last year. You know, did not have the best year. Didn't qualify for champs. You know, really kind of fell off a bit. Going to be looking to see them back on the big stage this year. I think, though, coming into this one, Faze Red has so much momentum. You see it on their faces. You see Enable and Miracles. Miracles, you know, you can see, looks really worried about what's going on right now.
Now, as far as Capture Flag Retreat goes, we know that BioLab kind of has those funky spawns. Ascend has weird spawns, but they're a little bit more consistent.
Yep.
Is there anything that presents a problem as far as Retreat goes?
Well, obviously on Retreat, if you're going to be attacking from that cave spawn, you're going to have that favorable advantage. A lot of people talk about, you know, one side is the good side, the other side, quote unquote, the bad side. I think if you can see Optic Nation come out on this, you know, quote unquote, good side, you know, put a good score together, you're going to see good things out of them in this game.
Okay, who do you want to go on board first with for this one?
You know, let's go on board with Enable. It's going to be Faze Red attacking from that favorable side, see if they can get something going. We saw TK go up 4-1 against Optic Gaming from this side. Going to be interesting to see if Faze can do the same.
Okay, so on board with Enable, he's getting tagged up, but he's not dead. He finally falls. Killa and Teep now go down, and we're going to go up on board with Slash, who picks up a kill. He's now got a 1-0 rating, and looking for Killa, but Killa takes him down as well. Parasite already trying to sneak around. Parasite's
going to rotate back towards his own flag, just make sure that base is clear. And you see Faze Red, they need to put some offensive pressure on. Optic Nation playing all in their lobby. You know, we talk about time and time again, when you turtle in CTF, usually bad things happen. Optic Nation playing so defensive right now, so AR heavy. If Faze can just get into their lobby, cause some chaos with some subs, they're going to be able to get a cap.
All right, Miracle's trying to hold down this pool side, and this is the side that you really want to hold down, right? Maddie's trying to tag up Parasite, though, but he's got to cut. Now Enable's going to come through and chop him down.
Yeah, and Enable, he has a free run towards that flag, and we talked about that sub pressure over towards lobby. Teep, though, for Optic Nation, he's going to be able to get one out poolside, see if he can make it through. He's going to be taken out around towels, and there's one player flanking all the way for this Faze Red team. It's going to be Enable. They're going to take out Killa. He should be good to go down poolside.
There's going to be one big gunfight right there against Karma, but he's taken down by a Parasite, and it looks like they're going to have one more. I don't think TB's going to be able to get there. He's going to kill Enable. That's after the score, a 1-0 lead right now in favor of Faze Red.
And, you know, Optic Nation really relied on that overextension there. They were not able to win those gunfights, and Karma, though, he's going to pick up 2 coming in late. Killa's going to be running down poolside. They're not going to be able to win the engagements in their base, so you're going to see a battle go down right here with the flag, and that's Aches picking up a huge 2-piece. It should be Enable able to run this one down poolside for an easy cap.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anybody from Optic Nation that's going to be able to get back, and his teammates are spawning in front of him, so he's got support. This is going to be 2-0 Faze Red right off the rip, and you said, though, this is the good side, correct?
Yes, this is not the start you wanted, though, if you were Optic Nation. You wanted to come out a little bit better than this. And, you know, our key player matchup was Enable versus Miracles. Enable, you know, 3-2, but still does have those 2 flag caps to his name. Miracles struggling a little bit over at 2-6, but they have him running an AR over on poolside. You'd like to see Miracles running more of that SMG aggressor role like we're used to.
Yeah, he's been struggling over on this pool side. Every time he tries to get shots down by the pool rock, then he seems to be cut down from the side. Again, pretty much that same setup. It looks like his teammate TP is going to be able to pick up the kill there on Parasite. And now they're starting to push up a little bit from this pool side, but Slasher pulls the flag.
And, you know, it was Enable originally who got hands on the flag, and Slasher was able to win a huge gunfight against Karma. Can he get the second? No, he cannot, but still, tons of players in support over on poolside for this Faze Red team. Looks like Ake's going to be able to pick that one up with Parasite in support.
Okay, so now Parasite running behind Aches, and let's go on board with Aches as he's trying to score this one. Yep, that's 3-0 right now. This one, I don't want to say getting out of hand yet because this is the good side and you expect this to happen, but right now, all Faze. Not much has changed this series as a whole.
No, it has not at all, and I can hear the guys up Faze getting hyped over there to the left, specifically Slasher, you know, sitting at 11-6 right now, tearing it up in here. Killisco going to be able to pick up 2 with the flag, not able to get it out of lobby. Such a difficult position for Optic Nation to fight out, and there's one player that Karma has to beat with the flag. I don't think they know that one player from Faze is in lobby, and he's going to get cut off right here quick. That's going to be Parasite, and they're going to get all 4 down. Nothing can go in Optic Nation's favor right now.
And those are the gunfights you have to win when you're in a situation like this, right, Matt? You need to win the one-on-ones, and you need to have that player called out. As Enable's now bringing the flag again up poolside, and there's going to be no one again to stop him. This is 4-0, and now I think it's time to start talking about it getting out of hand.
So this is a lot like what we saw in the OG versus TK game. TK able to come out, sit that great score. It was Optic Gaming, though, able to pick up 1 flag. You're going to need to see Optic Nation go on the offensive. They've been playing this one so defensive from their base. I'm sure you're going to hear Ray talk about it in analysis. They have just been sitting on their side of the map. Really, nothing can get past the 50-yard line. Usually talk about that a lot. The team that can play past the 50-yard line on CTF the most really has the most success. Optic Nation really not able to get anything going.
All right, Karma only 5-12 right now, but he's starting to sneak up towards the flag. He's looking for Parasite. He's got hit markers, doesn't take him down, and then he's going to get erased. And right now, look at Slasher, 15-8. You have Aches 12-8. Enable's only 5-7. And if Enable's only 5-7, the rest of your team must be going off. And right now, it's just fantastic play from Faze Red still. Enable
3 caps to his name, though. I know coming into this event, everybody you know saw it on Twitter, saw it in their scrims and watching. They were really worried about how Aches was going to perform. You know, Slasher and Parasite, we've seen them kind of, bump heads a little bit, but it was really, all on Aches if he was going to show up this weekend or not. Did not show up at all at Season 1 Champs. I think Pat would even tell you that himself, but coming into this weekend, he's been playing a lot better.
And maybe a little bit more juice flowing today going up against former teammates.
Yes, this is the first time him and Teep have ever matched up against each other. Him and Karma, obviously, members of that Complexity EG lineup as well. But we're going to go into the second half with a 4-0 Faze Red lead. Optic Nation's got a huge mountain to climb.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd like to see, if you're not going to get a cap on that side, just limit. Stop the bleeding. And 4-0 is certainly going to be difficult. And the way they've been playing today, just not on their A game, to say the least.
Nah, Optic Nation has not looked very good in this series. The hard point, they got outslayed by a lot. The S&D, really, they couldn't win any of their individual one-on-one battles, and it just looks like this Faze team has come out on fire.
You know what, I'm interested, though, after I say that, how much of this is Faze Red dominating, and how much of this is Optic Nation not being on their A game?
I think it's, Optic Nation's been in the right position, Gizmo. They've been playing the right way. They've been in the right positions. They have just not been able to win those gunfights, and it's really been a struggle for them. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it, though. You run into a team that is playing so well and so hot. You can play it perfect, but there's nothing you can do about it, and that might be something what we're seeing right here.
All right, so the kills are going down. Optic Nation was slaying out pretty nicely for a minute there. Parasite was the only player up. He's going to pick up a kill. He's 12-9, and he's on a 1 streak. I think he heard TV, he's laying there, but can't find them, so he's checking over by the wall. Not too much going on over here, and as we say that, Enable again on the flag. How many times has he been able to get to the flag and now running it again to the pool side? He has just been a nuisance there as Killa pulls the flag, and now we have the potential for a little stalemate to go going.
Enable has been the key player of this matchup for Faze. Only at 9-9, but still he's going to punch in his 4th flag cap right there. And he is just getting so much pressure on the Optic Nation base that it puts you in a pickle, Gizmo, because you're pushing the opposing team's base and the flag gets pulled. And now you have some players, going on the offensive. Some players need to turn on the defensive. You can't focus any one area. It makes the game a lot more difficult to play.
Slasher and Parasite filling up the kill feed right there. Slasher now playing a little bit of defense over here on this pool wall, taking down Karma. Absolutely melted him there with the Valley. Sees Killa, he stuns him, and now he's going to try and get that kill there. He's going to. He's now on a 3 streak at 23-13. But the only thing that could probably help Optic Nation coming back, Matt, is something you talked about, and that's kind of turtling in your base, playing too defensive. Why is that so bad to do in CTF?
It's awful because usually when you play so defensive, when you play CTF, the way you want to play it is from that 50-yard line like we were talking about before. If you can get towards that middle of the map in CTF, if your whole team gets a 4 down and everybody dies, you at least have a second wave of spawn to play defense. When you turtle your base and you play so defensive and everybody drops, the opposing team just just grabs your flags and run. There's no chance to play a secondary defense, so that's why turtling in CTF is so bad.
It looks like finally Optic Nation can get their first cap here. That's Karma sliding through. Now the score 5-1 with just over 2.5 minutes left. It's really going to be an uphill battle, but you have to start somewhere, right, Matt? You needed that first one. Karma now gained a big kill on Enable. Now we're going to start to see them push a little bit more. He's starting to turn it up a little bit. He's got a 2-streak. TP trying to pull the flag, and Karma can't get the kill there. Slasher with a nice 2-piece against Karma and TP.
Slasher coming up huge right there. Killa's going to try and get over pool wall, take out 2. He's going to need some teammate support, though. Not in the best position with that foul to make that flag pull. But as we say that Killa, he's going to pull the flag. But if you keep note on your mini map, it's Enable again able to get that Optic Nation flag out.
He's got to the flag, and then I'm assuming you're going to like this play from Faze, because right now they don't need any more caps.
No, they're going to play for this stalemate, and it's the worst thing that obviously could happen to Optic Nation. And you're going to see Killa looks like he's going to get on the offensive with the flag, and he's going to have to. You know, a minute 55 down 4 flags, you're going to need to make something happen. You're playing with house money at this point. Highly unlikely you come back. You're just going to have to try and make a play and open the game up, and it does not look like it's going to happen. Enable able to punch his 5th flag of the game in, Giz. Yeah,
we're just over a minute and a half left, and now we're going to need 5 caps from Optic Nation, and the way they've been playing so far, not expecting to see that happen. This one, I'll be honest, is a big shot. I was looking forward to this one pretty much all week when we saw the bracket come out, the potential for this matchup, and just Faze has been dominating.
You know, I expected Optic Nation to come out a lot more fired up for this matchup, Gizmo, to be completely honest. On the Faze side, you know, obviously here in the venue we can hear it, but they're extremely loud. You know, you can hear Enable, you can hear Slasher, you can hear Pat calling out. On the Optic Nation side, you know, you don't really hear much of anything. You don't hear Killa really getting hyped. Miracle's not really getting hyped either, and I think it's because they just can't seem to win these gunfights, and it's really demoralizing.
Yeah, Slasher going 30-19 isn't exactly helping the cause for Optic Nation either. Parasite now controlling the bottom lobby there, and it's just there's nothing that they can do. Karma and Killa both get kills, but at this point, I think it's safe to say it's just a little bit too little too late.
And you know, the Faze Red of Season 1, I don't know if they win this game with Enable get going 11-15. Obviously 5 caps, he went massive in the OBJ department, but he was so reliant on for that slaying at Season 1 champs. It's going to be a very interesting rest of the tournament. If Faze can keep playing like this, I think we may see them make it all the way to the finals.
Yeah, you'll see Enable just sit over here in cave. He doesn't need to do anything, and this one's wrapped up. This has been an absolutely dominant performance from Faze, and I was impressed with Enable, even though the 11-15 KD, you doesn't have to be getting the kills when you have Slasher going for 32. Parasite and Nakes both going 24. This has been a very impressive game from Faze.
Yeah, everybody from Faze had their shining moments during this series. Enable, obviously, with those 5 caps, going 11-5, really cementing that win for Faze Red in this CTF. And they're going to be able to take that series over Optic Nation 3-0. Giz, I think the sky's the limit for this Faze Red roster if they're playing like this.
And you said it earlier, when they're happy, when they're smiling, when they're laughing, that's trouble.
They're a difficult team to beat. When everybody from this team is on the same page and they are clicking, there is not a roster up and down that is as talented, I think. You know, you look, you have some of the veteran players of Call of Duty, you know, with Aches and Parasite, and then you have some of the new faces over the last year. You know, Slasher really coming onto the scene at Season 3 playoffs for Ghost with that Noble squad. Enable coming from Curse all the way, you know, with Justice in Season 1 and then over to Faze. Just phenomenal performances out of all of those guys here in this game against Optic Nation.
A 1.5 KD for Slasher and a capture of the flag.
Yeah, just a great game from him. I mean, finishes, you said, 33-22. But I want to throw it down to our team on the analysis desk. It's going to be Rambo and Benson. See what they thought about that series.
Thanks, Matt. That kind of
So here's basically what happened. So Optic Nation were given a cookie, and Faze took it away and ate it before the game started, and the insert happened, and another 3-0 happened. So yeah, no, it was great. I mean,
good analysis, T1.
Yeah. I mean, it's
commercial break. No, I'm kidding.
So basically, the first map, I mean, it's Faze kind of just outslaying.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't count it, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's on Optic Nation. At least 2 or 3 of the players seem to be having a rough game, and when you're playing a team with high caliber like Faze, you need to slay. Faze won the first event this year. Faze still really good. It's simple as that. I mean, it's one thing for Nation. It's kind of like the same question you're having yesterday. Like, they have this question mark over their head.
Right.
If some of them don't perform, then they're going to have a hard time winning. They're not like a team like, for example, like Optic, where a Scumpy or a Nate Shot or any player on that team can have a bad game, and then someone else can really pick up the slack. This team needs some of these players to get really, like, like at least 2 or 3 of the players need to get going to have a good chance of winning a game. So, and to be fair, Karma, like a big player in that team, but like obviously he can't pull on the weight all the time. So, and then going to Search, it was, I mean, there's not much to say. They just didn't show up.
Yeah, it's weird because like, you associate Search and Destroy with Optic Nation, you think that's a game mode they have to really win. You know, you look at some of their players historically being fantastic Search and Destroy players, but just not clicking today, it seems.
No, I mean, it seemed like every time we took a look away, there was like a 3v1 or 1v3 or 2v1 situation in favor of FaZe, and it was like, all right, well, that's over. Besides the last round where Karma and Aix were in the 1v1, that's like the only situation where we saw like kind of like a neutral chance for both teams to win at the end of the round. Everything else was just so dominant, and then for CTF as well, I mean, it's kind of like the same thing happened with TK earlier, but FaZe kind of just kept going and kept the slaying going, and then Nation didn't have the slaying going for them. Earlier is different because TK was slaying more than Optic on the first side. But on this sense, it was like, and they kind of kept, and then, excuse me, happened earlier is basically the team that was winning kind of kept slaying, or didn't slay as much on the second side. So in this case, FaZe kept slaying crap out of their opposing team, the Josh Nation, and then
I mean, when Slasher drops a 1.5 KD in CTF, you're gonna be struggling to try and top that.
It's not easy, and it's kind of like the same point we brought up earlier. It's gonna be redundant, but it's the slaying really for Nation. If all 4 players can show up and start killing, like they need to do that to actually have a good chance to beat these top teams. And this is a big question mark over Nation for now.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Of course, both teams already qualified for the Call of Duty World Championship in Los Angeles in a few weeks' time. So, you could argue a little bit of pressure up, but it's seeding, right? How important is seeding?
Yeah, let's talk about, like, let's really stress the importance of seed. So basically, because there is 14 North American teams qualifying this year, and for the past 2 years there's only been 8, that makes a big difference because, I mean, I'm not 100% sure I could be speaking radically here, but basically if the pool play works the same way as it has in the past, it probably will in the sense where it's going to be maybe not exactly the same. It's going to be similar. Since we have 14 teams and last year there was 8 pools, and that means 6 of these 14 teams are pretty much, actually 14 of these teams will have 2 North American teams in the pool.
Right.
Which is a big deal. That's like
not what you want. That's
not what you want. I mean, even though, like, let's say the 14 to 10 team are not these top tier teams, there's still teams that can come out and surprise you and do something. For example, like Team Revenge is coming out really hot. Well, I mean, let's say these guys, I mean, they're looking really good right now. But let's say they lose out for whatever reason. I mean, they play
could
really
cause an upset in the pool.
Yeah, exactly. And then you don't want that in pool play. And that's not counting the European team that might be in there.
Very true.
So if you, like, seeding is so important, even more so important this year than it is in the past, because, like, even last year we saw Australian teams kind of come out. They got, like, a top 6 finish. So, like, the competition is getting so bigger and so much better throughout the years across the world. And so you want to make pool play as easy as possible. Like, even speaking for myself, last year in pool play, we made it really hard on ourselves. We had to go like a 3-way tie, S&D tiebreaker, which is like, we ended up getting second in the tournament, but like the amount of stress we had to put on ourselves to get through that tournament, and you don't want to do that. You want to really have the kind of like, that pool play is that phase of the tournament. You really want to give yourself a smooth time, get your team rolling in tournament, get those early wins, and then look towards the bracket and try and give yourself, because keep an important, another point, if you have another North American team in your pool, yes, let's say there's 2 8 teams, let's say they both make it, but first or second is a big deal because first teams play second teams in the pool and second teams play first. Example, like last year we had to play the North American champs in our first match of the bracket and we lost. I mean, that's a tough match to win against these. So,
very tough game.
So yeah, there's a lot, even though these teams are qualified, there's a lot more meaning to it. And these matches are by far, like, I mean, to me, they're just as important as qualifying.
Yeah, you still need to go just as hard.
Definitely,
There's no exception to take your foot off the gas pedal, so to speak. Of course, action's going to be continuing for the rest of the evening and, of course, tomorrow. For now, though, commercial break. When we return, I believe we have Maven with an interview with Enable and Parasite.